Let us see if we are on. Hey all, good morning. Welcome to ShareTreck. This is Raj here. Friends, I have a really bad migraine this morning. I can hardly see the screen properly. So I'm going to try and navigate this as best as possible. And hopefully I'll be able to come up with another video later on during the day to elaborate on the points that I'm going to talk about. On the screen, you are seeing the S&P 500 futures. I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger so that I can see. I'm as blind as a bat right now. Whenever I get migraines, I have these colorful patterns that radiate from the edge of my eyes to the center of my eyes, and then I get the headache. So I'm in that visual distortion stage of my migraine. So the screen is not that clear, so please bear with me. I would like to start off by talking about some main concepts which are worrying me. Even though we are seeing the index futures being a little bit positive this morning, I think S&P 500 futures is looking up 0.52%, NASDAQ 0.44% up. This is just, I think, a dead cat bounce. I'll be surprised if we can maintain this for a longer term. And there are many reasons behind this. Let me start counting them down. I'll make a separate video on them. I'll just give you the headlines. The first one is that Japanese yen. Hi, hot dog, good morning. I think I had sent you a message about the Japanese economic situation. So it seems to me that the USD JPY pair indicates that the Japanese yen is becoming weaker and weaker. Now it has got twofold implications. Earlier, people used to borrow Japanese yen and put it into the US market because the interest rate was low and they had a favorable exchange rate, and it worked out very well. Now, with the Japanese yen becoming weaker against the US dollar, it's opportune for people to sell their US holdings and repatriate the money to Japanese yen and pay off their debt at a lower price. So this is one aspect. The other aspect, I believe, is that the Japanese government is looking at stimulating the economy. Stimulating of the economy basically involves printing more money, making loose monetary conditions, which will inevitably lead to inflation. And to control the inflation, you'd have to raise the interest rates. So those are the dynamics, I think, which we have to watch going forward. The second piece of information came from our subscriber, David Best. He was talking about a fall in inventory being shipped into the US. If that is the case, then the holiday season is going to see problems, and you could also look at some amount of inflation resurfacing because of that. So that's the second factor one would like to keep in mind. People have been pouring through NVDA earnings, and one of the concerns that seems to have come out is that NVDA has got a lot of finished goods in its inventory. As a percentage of the overall inventory, finished goods is the biggest portion. So if the AI market was that hot, how come NVIDIA has got so much of free finished goods inventory in its books? That's a big question, because one would have expected raw materials to be higher on the inventory scale, but this is the other way around. Now, if you look along with that at the fact that power supply is a constraint, many states, people have reported 30% increase in their power bill because of AI data center consumption. We have also had reports of some data center projects being put on hold or cancelled because of lack of dedicated power supply. And to put a mini nuclear reactor, I think it takes around 6 years. So those things are constraints for further uptake of chip demand. Now, along with this, if we place the information that we have, that companies are amortizing their GPUs over 6 to 7 year time frame, whereas the economic life of the GPU at the most is 3 years. That would mean that the billions of dollars that have been pumped into data centers to stay ahead in the competition is going to be refreshed again within another couple of years or another year and a half. and at that time, these companies, big tech, will have to borrow. Amazon is borrowing $15 billion. So there will be borrowing taking place, and the demand for GPUs from NVIDIA depends on them successfully borrowing at reasonable rates and continuing to invest in the refresh cycle. So that's another fact, that when you look at it with the fact that NVIDIA has got so much of finished goods in their inventory, that's a problem. And also look at NVIDIA's arrangement with CoreWeave to buy unused data center capacities. Now, CoreWeave is also going to face the same cycle of obsolescence, and NVIDIA is in almost $1 trillion into CoreWeave, if I'm not mistaken. So if you put all of those things together, definitely the staggering drop that we saw in NVIDIA stocks after the earnings definitely makes sense. So I'm thinking that all these indice bumps are going to be just a temporary upturn, and then we are going to continue moving downwards towards our target. And if you look at S&P 500, I think we are looking at around 6,222.75. That's where we want to be. And we have resistance, which is going to be at 6,595. And right now we are at 6,586. I'm just going to mark this red so that you can see that it's a resistance. So we have to break above this resistance first. And once we break above this resistance, then we have resistance out here at 6,692.25. So those are the twin obstacles that we have. And we have not yet confirmed under this line of resistance. We want to see what happens to today's candle. I sent you a message on YouTube. I just found one of your messages and I replied to it, hot dog. But if you find any market intelligence on what's happening down in Asia, that is Japan and China, and if you see any concerns out there, just send it to me in one of those mediums. I always check your messages, and then I'll investigate that further and see if we have to be worried about the yen unwind trade. So thanks a lot out there. Now you look at the market sentiment, MACD, everything is bearish. Now let's go to NASDAQ. NASDAQ futures are up 0.26%. But we are going to have a resistance out here. I'm going to mark this as red, and our support is going to be at 24,097. That's going to be our support. Our resistance is going to be 24,416.75. So that's what I have for NASDAQ. Again, market sentiment, everything is bearish, and we have a target out here for 22,754.25. I'm still focused on that. We have breached the neckline, so our reverse head and shoulders, our head and shoulder pattern is active, and we also have this topping tail out here which is active. So along with all the indications out here, I think that pre-market bounce may not sustain. Maybe it may come up to this resistance and then come back down. I would like to think of it that way. And remember, I'm a retail investor like yourself. I'm just using my technical analysis knowledge, which of course is limited, to share information with you. I'd like to get your feedback as well. Dollar index is getting a little bit stronger, and if you look at VIX, it is down 2.12%, but it's still elevated at 25. Anything above 20 is elevated. So I'd like to watch and see what happens out here with the VIX. Gold is down 0.26%, and I think we are in this wedge pattern where our probability of breaking out on the upside is higher than that of breaking out on the downside. So I'd look forward to some dollar cost averaging opportunities if we come closer to the bottom out here, which is going to be at 3961.81. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I wouldn't be surprised if we break out on the upside if the yen unwind trade or something like that happens and the market gets spooked. And of course, I didn't mention about the excessive use of the repo facility, which indicates some kind of problems underneath. And put call ratio at this point of time is at 0.057. So I would say it's neutral. That's what I would read into that. And then let's go on to have a look at the indicators themselves. S&P 500 is got resistance at the midpoint of this parallel channel, and we are right now at the very bottom out here below 6,555.58. So I would say 6555.58 is going to be our first resistance, and if we break through this, then our next resistance is going to be 6610.04. I'm going to mark this line as red so that you can see that it's the, oh sorry, it was a neckline, so let's forget that. Let me just, that's a neckline. So our resistance actually is going to be 6649.44. That's our resistance. Now next, let's go on to the NASDAQ index, and NASDAQ index will face a resistance at the neckline, which is 24,204.55. That's our neckline. That's going to be the first level of resistance that we may find, and the next level of resistance would be somewhere around 24,661.96. So those are the resistances that I would look at. You would see that all the other factors are bearish for NASDAQ. Let's look at QQQ and see what the actual action is. Pre-market QQQ is up 0.31%. It is still below the neckline. We have already breached the neckline, and we have a support of 583.11. So I would look forward to see what happens with the candle for today. Right now, we are in the bottom 10% of yesterday's huge red candle that brought us down significantly. Let me attempt to see if I can find the amount of drop we had. We dropped 4.27% yesterday, and for today, I think we are seeing a bounce pre-market of around 0.29%. So, or 3-4% as we can take from here, 0.38%. So that's all the bounce we have. I'd like to see what happens when the market opens, especially around 10:30 a.m. That's when we'll get a real feel of what's happening. Now let's go on and have a look at AI. I'm more focused on NVDA. I think NVDA is getting a dead cat bounce. We bounced off the support of 179.83, which we had marked here before, and we now have a resistance at 183.44. Let me mark that as red. So I want to see us break above 183.44, or else I think our support of 179.75 will be tested again today. I wouldn't be surprised if we close at around let me open this up, 179.98. So if we close at around 179.98, I wouldn't be surprised. But if we fall below that, then I think our head and shoulder pattern is progressing further. So let us see what happens. This could be a dead cat bounce. Pre-market purchasers are generally retail investors. So I would suppose that, I wouldn't put too much weightage on that. Meta is up 0.16%. Meta is on its way down. I would be surprised if we don't touch 571.37 in the next few days. Next we have Google, which is up 1.70%. With regard to Google, I think a lot of consolidation is in order, and I would say that it would find a resistance at around 305.03. Hot Dog is saying, in brief though, the yen carry trade is unwinding because rates in Japan are increasing. IMF projects 1.5% in the next year, which is unheard of for Japan, and destroys the carry trade. And Hot Dog, is there any truth to the Japanese PM wanting to do some kind of stimulus to boost the economy? If you find any evidence of that, please let me know, because that's what I am reading. Next, let's go on to Amazon. Amazon is up 0.60% in pre-market trades, and we have a resistance at 222.96. I'm going to mark this red. That is our resistance, and I think we'll get support at 217.14. So that's what we have for Amazon. Apple is down 0.17%. It has fallen below this diagonal line of support, which is at 267.10 today as resistance. So I'm going to mark this red. Of course, our resistance is not yet confirmed. It will get confirmed if we close today below 266.20. Until then, it's a confirmed support which has been breached. So there's a good chance that we may recover above that. But given the fact that we are already negative in the pre-market trades, I'm thinking that we are more likely to confirm this resistance. Next, let's look at Microsoft, which is down 0.11% in pre-market trades. Microsoft and its relationship with OpenAI and the amount of money that it has already invested into AI, all of those things are a little bit suspect. And on the positive side for Microsoft is their stronghold on the Office suites and the cloud, Azure. So all of those things are the positives. But right now, it seems the market does not approve the amount of investments that have gone into AI with Microsoft, especially the circular investments. That's my feeling. And I'm thinking that we are already marching towards our target, which is 441.85. If we come close to that, then I'm buying. Next, let's look at Tesla, which is up 1.66%. Friends, as I mentioned to you, I think Tesla is snake oil. We should be heading towards 351.59. I'm still into TSLQ. I'm holding to my TSLQ. We will have support at 412.40. That's our resistance. We'll have resistance at 412.13. And right now, we probably will find some support at 395.23. So today also I'm looking at a red candle, this line of resistance, which is at 412.42. That's not yielding for the last so many days. So that said, let's look at Oracle. Oracle is down 0.02%. Oracle will consolidate at this point of time. It's been beaten down significantly and it's due for a dead cat bounce. AMD is up 0.78% in pre-market trades. And I'm thinking that AMD is going to form a red candle today. It has got resistance first at around 233.21 and then at 236.67. It will get some support at 205.90 and then it's dropping down to 182.06. That's what I'm thinking because we have a gap up that needs to be filled up. Next, let us look at SMCI, which is up 1.24%. As I said, SMCI is the weakest among all these AI darlings, and I think it will get support today at around 31.08, and it will get resistance at 34.05, which I'll mark as red. Now, since I have this heavy migraine, I'm not able to see the chart that clearly. I'm just going to get into genomics because our genomics viewers also need to have some input. So let me use the last bit of my energy to do this. Prime is flat in pre-market trades and it's going to get resistance at 2.88. That's the resistance that I see for 3.88. That's the resistance that I see for Prime, and I will see support for Prime somewhere around 3.66. I'm going to mark this diagonal line as green. So that's what we are looking forward to for Prime. Intelia is up 2.99% in pre-market trades, and I think it will definitely get some resistance at 9.33, and it will get some support at 8.04. Caribou Biosciences is up 0.57%, but it's definitely getting resistance at 1.84. Beam Therapeutics is down 0.05% in pre-market trades. Altimmune is up 0.45% in pre-market trades, and it's still managing to stay above 4.40. So it will get a support at 4.40. I'd be surprised if we fall below this. I'd be happy if we stay above this. Editas is up 1.21% in pre-market trades, but it will still have resistance at 2.62. Right now it is at 2.50 in pre-market trades. Illumina is down 0.18%. It still has resistance at 122.36, and it will definitely get some support at 118.35. CRISPR Therapeutics is up 0.63% in pre-market trades. It will get some resistance at 51.73, and it definitely has support at 46.40. Allogene is flat in pre-market trades. It has got resistance at around 1.27. Right now it's at 1.24. Grail is up 0.41% in pre-market trades. There's a huge area of support for Grail starting at 77.72. That's going to be the support. Immediate support for Grail is going to be at 82.01, and right now we are at 86.00. So I would also like to say that a resistance at 91.54 is already present. PSCB is flat in pre-market trades. It has got a topping tail pattern out here. I'd like to watch what happens today. Indicators are bearish. ARCG is up 1.43% in pre-market trades. It's at 27.60, and right now it has support at 27.03. It will also have some amount of resistance at 27.92. Vertex is up 0.49% in pre-market trades. And when the market goes down, I think companies like Eli Lilly, Vertex, Pfizer, they should attract some amount of money as a defensive play. Next, let's go on to Ginkgo Bioworks. It's down 0.26%. Friends, yesterday I said we'll have a red candle. We did have a red candle. And today the resistance is 8.21 and we are already at 7.80. So we are likely to fall down further and we may get some support at 7.64. Unicure, let's skip that. Let's go to Precision. Precision is up 1.28% and we have support at 3.64 and we will have resistance at around 4.29. Eli Lilly is up 0.19%. It has made a bull flag and it's broken out and I think it's going to go up further. I'm not putting a target out there because the market is a little bit volatile right now. Let's go on and look at Ultragenyx. Ultragenyx has got no trades pre-market. It will find some resistance at around 32.27 and it will find initial support at 31.19, failing which it will find support at 30.66. So that's what we have. Just out of curiosity, I want to look at Pfizer. Pfizer is up 0.41% in pre-market trades. Of course, the cup and handle pattern is obsolete right now. Let me just remove this. This topping tail is still in operation. But I think as the market goes down, there'll be a search for better options. And I think Pfizer, Eli Lilly, those big pharma would attract a little bit of money. Also, I think Procter & Gamble and probably defensives like that would start attracting some money because they are staples. So that's what I have, my friends, and I'm starting to get my headache. So I'm going to let you go and I'll catch up with you again with a video later today in which I'm going to talk about all the risk factors that underpin the market. So my final message for today is my personal opinion is that this slight bounce that we are seeing on the futures, let me just go and show you that. S&P 500 up 0.43 in futures and Nasdaq futures up 0.38. Those are all, I think, dead cat bounce. People thinking that this is the bottom and let's buy it. And you will also see a reason why they may think so. Because we have support here for Nasdaq futures at 24,103. And if you go to S&P 500, we have support at 6,477.25. So there's a little bit of a dead cat bounce effect out here. But I'm thinking that at the end of the day, it's all coming down. That's my feedback. And I would like to hear from you guys. What do you think? Am I right? Are you on my side? Or are you thinking that it's time to DCA and the market is going to go up? Please let me know in the comments. I'll catch up with you again in the next one. Bye for now.